I dreamed I was watching my buddy Keanu Reeves fronting a band in a small venue when Donald and Melania arrived and had shitty seats. He seemed kind of sad, and I almost felt guilty for not liking him. Donald kept dropping my name, which I hadn't told him, both to impress Keanu and to let me know I was being surveilled. I didn't care and decided that I would not be controlled by that. I don't often record my dreams, but I wrote this one down. I was working in the White House and DT used some excuse to reach between my legs to get a piece of paper in the shelf behind me. I glared at him and told him he could ask me to move next time. Afterwards, I ran crying to HRC, and she comforted me. Through tears, I asked her why people didn't know the difference between an awful person and a good one. After that, we were both in a boat, watching a factory-type building fall over into the river. I was on a commuter bus, and we were on our way to pick up Joe Biden. He was sitting on the front stoop of a brownstone waiting for us after a long day working on our behalf in Washington. This was a regular day for all of us, including Biden. All of a sudden, the narrow road was blocked off by an immovable white wall. The driver had to make a sharp turn up another more narrow road and further away from getting Biden. At every turn we tried to make to get back en route, we were violently blocked by a new army or military police with machine guns and workers putting up new brick walls. Simultaneously, some people got on the bus, took our money and our personal freedoms. People started to freak out. I woke up. A bit of levity for the Christmas season. These are dreams submitted by anonymous users about the 45th President of the United States. You can find this compilation on 45dreams.wordpress.com. This anthology is being created by a psychologist and therapist, Martha Crawford, and I was turned on to this by this article over here on theoutline.com. And yeah, you could see I dreamt he actually pushed the button and started a nuclear war. Obviously, these are anonymously submitted, but to the extent that they're true, who's criticizing people for what happens in their subconscious? Not me. But we can poke a little fun at the fact that these people submitted these dreams. They wanted them to be shared on this platform, and the way some of them convey what happened in the dream is pretty funny. There's a somewhat noble aim in the work of Crawford in that she wanted to see if our unconscious lives held to this polarization of the president, or if there are any kind of unifying themes that emerged. I also wanted to hear what our intuition had to say outside of our consciously informed opinions. She also said, I think it is safe to say that the division in our nation is both a symptom of our unconscious projections and fears and hopes, and is also impacting our unconscious lives in a circular feedback loop as we manifest our fears and then respond to them. My ultimate hope is that this project can be a space where we slow that process down and reflect a moment on what we are responding to before we react. Great. I mean, this sounds like a nice collective support group for those suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. Oddly, I had a series of dreams of 45 in the months following the inauguration. In all of them, he was a perfect gentleman and seemed quite nice. On waking, I would feel very disconcerted. I have wondered if this is my psyche helping me to neutralize the strong antipathy I feel while awake. I have a core belief that hating something or someone only gives them power. I also do not believe anyone is pure evil, as they say on the crime shows. I do think that any of our bodies can host a rampant virus, or even our own cells can turn against us as cancer. At least that's the only way I can begin to comprehend the Stephen Paddocks of the world. I suspect that my dreams were the effort of my subconscious to remind me that 45 was once a scared little boy before he turned to bullying as a way to reassure himself. You know, if you take your dreams seriously enough to do this kind of introspection and self-analysis, and I think there's merit in doing that, dreams can help us break down our daytime narratives and stories, which are self-propaganda or delusions that we have, things that are helping us sustain a worldview which is self-serving but concealing deeper truths. I don't think this guy fully made it around to the other side of revelation, around the bend, thanks to this dream. It seems more like in his interpretation of the dream and trying to integrate it into his waking life and psychology and understanding of the world, he rejected the central message of the dream. Instead, he turned it into a pitying story about how Trump was a scared little boy, and then used that to reaffirm his existing narrative that Trump is a bully. He's just adding context. Well, he's bullying to reassure himself, but in the dream, he was a perfect gentleman. You don't think that maybe the message of this dream, where Trump is a gentleman and is nice, is that he's maybe antithetical to your current existing model of him as a bully? I'm not saying Trump isn't a bully. I'm just saying that in the reading of this dream and his post-mortem analysis, there's a bit of cognitive dissonance here. There's a bit of resistance against the true message of the dream as he's explaining it to us. I once dreamed he was a baby monster locked in an apartment in a giant diaper. I had to stop by and feed him dog food several times a day. I was disgusted by him, but felt sorry for him to be. All right, deranged. Donald Trump was my father, and I was his pet like Ivanka, and I wanted his approval. He was taking me somewhere on Air Force One, like he was bestowing favors upon me. I was comforting him, calming, talking him down, petting him. I was shocked. I had to shake it off when I woke. I dreamed he was dressed in a bear costume with his face showing and he was smiling. He was by the garden gate, not letting me out of the house, quite literally being a gatekeeper, a barrier to progress. You know, I actually kind of like this because it's an improvement from what we've seen from presidential projectors of the past, you know, the valorizers and villainizers who put all sorts of subconscious baggage onto this centralized image of power in the United States president. Here, at least, we can see that they're conscious of a separation, a rift between reality and fantasy, between what's happening in their subconscious. You know, it can be very instructive for these people to discover that dreams, being the product of their own unconscious, might teach them something that even their conscious thoughts and beliefs are products of an unconscious rather than reality or something innate to Trump. It's a lesson in projection, a very fun one. Some of the dreams are nasty, some of them are trivial, but all of them are hilarious.